So have you ever gone back and watched a show from your childhood and thought like, holy shit, man, I didn't realize a children's show could be so deep. Well, that's exactly what happened to me when recently I was rewatching season 5 of Adventure Time. Hello everyone, I'm Finn. Welcome back to Finn Films. Join me today as once again we are diving into the weird and wacky world of Adventure Time. This time taking a look at what I think might be the most deep and possibly profound episode of a kids show that I think I've ever seen. An episode that is basically guaranteed to send you spiraling into an existential crisis, if you will. A little episode called Puhoy. Before we begin, guys, if you do enjoy this video or you learned something new, please make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, as that is the easiest way to support me, and it really does go a long way in putting this video into the algorithm. Also, if you do enjoy this episode and you like Adventure Time content, then why don't you check out some of my other videos going over the absolutely amazing and insane Adventure Time episodes. I'll link one in the eye above. So the episode Puhoy opens with Finn and Jake playing in a massive pillow-like fort as knives rain down from the sky in a severe storm. Yeah, I know, it's absolutely insane, don't question it, it's just Adventure Time things. Finn seems a bit down and depressed, and Jake is trying to cheer him up by building him a massive pillow fortress. Finn, we learn, is going through a very kind of classic teenager struggle. Having a girlfriend, as he and Flame Princess have been dating for some time now, and Finn is constantly overanalyzing and overthinking everything in their relationship. Finn saying that the other day he told her a joke and she didn't even laugh, so things naturally must be completely over between them. As hilarious and as much of an overreaction as that is, I'm sure anyone who has been in any type of relationship, especially as a teenager, can really relate to this anxiety of just overthinking just about everything in a relationship. Jake and Bimo try to comfort Finn, Bimo saying that maybe Flame Princess just didn't get the joke. Finn saying, yeah, right, maybe she just used up all her laughs on some other guy's jokes. Finn then dropping one of the most relatable, lines in all of Adventure Time.
Man, having a girlfriend is hard.
Jake, being the greatest big brother of all time, tells Finn he's just getting all hung up on imaginary problems. Basically that his irrational anxiety is causing him to spiral and he just needs to focus on what's real. Again, hella relatable. Jake then drops one of the realest and probably one of the deepest lines in all 200 plus episodes of Adventure Time.
You see this cup? This is literally my favorite cup. Huh. Now it's gone forever, so it's not real, and I don't care about it anymore.
Like, goddamn, dude, that's deep as hell. Finn doesn't get it, though, and he decides he needs some alone time to let his mind fester as he crawls into the pillow fort. Finn continues to crawl and crawl as suddenly the screen fades to black. Finn now standing up, walking in an abyss of blackness, the pillow fort having seemingly expanded to an impossible size. He looks up as he sees a shaft of light in the distance. Crawling through it, he emerges into an entire pillow-like world, a alternate pillow dimension. Finn turning around shocked to see that the door that he just crawled through has vanished. Finn walks down into the pillow town where a group of pillow kids come running, screaming out that there is a dragon, a blanket dragon. Finn doing what Finn does best as he slashes at the pillow dragon, killing it, opening its neck as it lets out a death cry as feathers flow from its body. Yeah, no lie, this scene is actually, low-key, kind of super brutal, if you really think about it, seeing as, the feathers from the pillows that are leaking out of the dragon's neck are actually, supposed to be blood if it was a real-ass dragon. The pillow people all emerge, thanking Finn and heralding him as their hero. Finn is then greeted by the leader of the pillow people, Quilton, who calls for a celebration for Finn's heroic deed. Even despite the party, Finn, though, is still bummed, finding a spot to sit alone with his thoughts, where he is greeted by a pretty pillow girl named Rosaline, the daughter of Quilton. Rosaline asks Finn if he wants to dance, very obviously flirting with him. Finn gets nervous, saying he has a girlfriend, Rosaline replying it's just a dance, not marriage. Finn accepts as the two awkwardly dance with one another, Rosaline putting his hand on her hip, Finn just yapping about random things, obviously uncomfortable and nervous about the situation. Finn saying how different this world is from his own, that in our world we use blankets and pillows for bedding. Rosaline giving him this little sly smirk saying, well, this.
Well, they're used for that here, too.
Whew, Is it getting hot in here, anybody? It really is hilarious going back now as an adult and watching a lot of these like Adventure Time episodes that I haven't watched in some time and seeing just how many like wild and inappropriate jokes that they somehow managed to sneak into this show. Finn decides it's time for him to go home as he asks Quilton to help him find the portal to his own world. Quilton saying Finn's not making any sheet of sense. Meanwhile, in the tray fort, Jake is fishing for his favorite mug. BMO saying, I thought you didn't care about that mug, as Jake finds it taking a drink from it. BMO saying that the mug is empty, as Jake wonders what Finn is up to. Yeah, I got nothing on this scene. This is just classic Adventure Time insanity and randomness at its best. We flash back over to the Pillow World where we see two small pillow children playing pretend. Both with blonde hair, the little girl wearing Finn's hat, pretending to be Finn, while the older boy pretends to be the Pillow Dragon. Now, right away, if we were to just freeze this frame right here, a keen-minded viewer could probably figure out what exactly is going on here. But immediately, Adventure Time basically just spells it out for us as the little girl says,
Well, I'm Daddy. Chapow!
yes, these are in fact Finn's pillow children, Jay and Bonnie, named after Jake and Princess Bubblegum. It being revealed that a significant number of years have passed in this pillow universe. I would say a minimum 10 years. Finn having married Rosaline, the two of them having children together. Yeah, I know what you're thinking. How does that even work? And yes, my man did fuck a pillow.
No. Wait.
Finn's children then run to give their dad his lunch as we see a much older Finn, probably in his 30s or 40s, having gotten more muscular and grown a beard. The show even replacing his voice actor with a much older man. Finn seemingly having completely forgotten about his life back in the real world with all the time that has passed here in the Pillow World. Finn being a happy and kind, loving father with a seemingly super happy and content family life. The family is then interrupted by the arrival of a much older Quilton, the children's grandfather. Quilton coming to speak with Finn, bringing up the mysterious door that Finn came through to get to the Pillow universe all those years ago. Quilton finding writings of this door hidden away in the Pillownomicon. The only information about the door is that it shows up periodically and then vanishes just as fast. Finn seemingly remembering his real life and his friends back in Oo, as he says he must find that door and return home, to the dismay of his wife Rosaline. We flash back to the real world to see BMO doing weird-ass BMO things. God, do I love BMO as a character. Only then we quickly flash back to the Pillow universe. We see a much older Finn, now in his 60s or possibly 70s, his right arm gone, replaced with a pillow arm. This scene being some great long-term foreshadowing and references to later seasons of Adventure Time. We see Finn has traveled to a high mountain top to speak with a Pillow Oracle. The sage being voice acted by Wallace Shawn from Princess Bride, which I think is absolutely amazing.
Inconceivable!
Finn has come to the Oracle on information on the Wandering Portal, which he has spent decades searching for. The Oracle telling Finn that he need not worry, he won't be in this realm much longer. Leaving Finn confused, as he leaves and we see his Pillow family has come with him, his children now young adults. Finn telling him the Oracle spoke in riddles, so he must again fester on this information. Rosaline getting emotional at the thought of Finn having to leave this world, leave his family, asking him to promise that when he does eventually leave, he will remember all of them. This then apparently reminding Finn of something Jake told him before he came to this world, as we see a very weird altered Jake play out the same scene when he told him that he was getting hung up on imaginary problems in the opening scene of the episode. But something though is a little bit off about this, we'll say.
Stay with your new wife. You've known her longer now than any of us. You're not even sure I ever really existed.
Finn, we see, after all of this time living this new life, has seemingly forgotten about his old life, his real life in Oo. This alternate Pillow reality seemingly becoming his actual true reality, as he has spent what is essentially a lifetime here, decades upon decades, as back in the real world we see BMO and Jake playing. We then flash back to the Pillow world, but the scene is black, as we hear a woman's voice saying Finn's name. The scene slowly unfolding as we see that we are in Finn's first-person point of view as he opens his eyes, seeing his Pillow family at his bedside, his children now middle-aged with families of their own, Rosaline, his Pillow wife, an elderly woman. The camera slowly pans back and we see that Finn is an old and withered man on his deathbed, his family surrounding him in his final moments to comfort him. Yeah, if this episode already wasn't pretty deep as it quickly just got pretty damn existential. His family tells him that they love him, as suddenly Finn sees a strange LSD trip-like vision, the vision shattering as he is hurled through the blackness, passing Golb, the god and eldritch-like powerful being of the universe of Ooh, Finn hurtling through a pillow tunnel where he finally emerges from the pillow fort back in the real world, where he is once again his same 15-year-old normal boy self. Yeah, if it wasn't obvious, this scene is basically Finn dying of old age, his spirit passing through the afterlife, I guess, allowing him to ultimately return back to the real world, having lived out an entire lifetime with an entire family in this pillow dimension. Jake asks Finn if he is feeling any better already, as it seems like only a matter of minutes, maybe an hour, has passed while he was in the fort. Finn saying he just had the wildest dream. As he is about to explain the dream to Jake, suddenly his phone rings. His girlfriend Flame Princess calling him, telling him that she just didn't get his joke that he told earlier until just now, and it's actually really funny and awesome. Finn having worried himself into an existential state over nothing. Jake then asking him once again about the dream. Finn, though, doesn't remember any of it, having already completely forgotten about the dream, forgotten his family, and the entire life he just lived in the Pillow universe, having broken the promise he made to his Pillow wife Rosaline to never forget them, as the episode ends. Holy shit, man, what an absolutely existential roller coaster. I feel like I need a fucking cigarette or something after being stuck on Finn's wild ride. Legit, this might be the deepest and most profound thing I have ever seen in a fucking kids show, which honestly is kind of on brand for a show like Adventure Time, which throughout its 200 plus episodes has constantly reinvented itself and tackled all sorts of very interesting topics and very deep themes. And let me tell you, people took notice of this episode in the kinder wider world of media, this episode winning in Adventure Time an Emmy Award, the first for its series. This episode, to me, is just absolutely bonkers and conjures images and references to all sorts of classic fiction stories and pieces of media. Like Alice in Wonderland, The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. Hell, it even feels like it has some Doctor Who vibes to it. The concept of this episode is seemingly inspired by the famous Tang Dynasty's Chinese story called The World Inside a Pillow, a story in which a man lives out an entire life, all its ups and downs, its highs and lows, inside of a pillow given to him by a monk, only for that man to reawaken back in his original life the following day. Again, one of my first thoughts when I watched this episode is it gave me very Lion the Witch in the Wardrobe type vibes, specifically on when the children in the C.S. Lewis story ultimately emerged from the fantasy world, coming out of the wardrobe, having spent all this time within the wardrobe in this fantasy world, having grown up and lived countless years and lived basically completely alternate lives, only to return back into the real world the same age as they were, almost as if no time at all had passed. This episode as well is an obvious emotional roller coaster, an existential crisis in animated form. And I remember coming away from this episode with this very profound feeling the first time I watched it back in 2013. I mean, this episode touches on all sorts of super existential deep topics that I think are really relatable for anyone of any age. But it is especially for young adults who are going through a lot of changes in their lives. Finn is struggling with his first kind of real relationship, his first kind of gasp at young love. Finn getting caught up in an anxiety spiral over something that is really so small and trivial as his girlfriend Flame Princess not laughing at a joke he told. Finn turning this very insignificant thing into a massive event, into something almost life-shattering all within his own mind. As someone who has struggled with irrational anxiety and spiraling with anxiety throughout their life, this shit to me is extremely relatable on so many different levels, man. It is honestly astounding to me the tricks that your own mind can play on you whenever you allow irrational anxiety and worries to completely take control over you and everything in your life. It can turn something as mundane as a misunderstanding with a loved one into some kind of world-breaking event. Finn dropping into a kind of depression-like state, all because, as Jake says, he has gotten himself hung up on imaginary problems, basically creating a mountain out of a molehill because he's allowed his own doubts and insecurities to get the better of him. And then there's, the whole pillow life that Finn lives, having a wife and 2 children, and then dying of old age. I never think I'm going to ever get over the fact that my boy fucked a pillow, though. This reveal of like Finn being an elderly man on his deathbed, this scene here and the way they decided to like storyboard it from this first person point of view as we see his eyes opening and we see that his children are now fully grown, that being the kind of reveal that Finn is an old man. This is one of my favorite scenes of all time in all of Adventure Time, and from like a media kind of like artsy point of view, I think it's an absolutely like fantastic storyboarded scene. And all of this, to me, I think, comes back to the thing that Jake said earlier on in the episode.
You see this cup? This is literally my favorite cup. Huh. Now it's gone forever, so it's not real, and I don't care about it anymore.
In many ways, I think this episode is about, like, moving on. Just like what Jake says with his metaphor with the cup. We see the same thing that Jake kind of said with the cup playing out in real time with Finn's pillow life and his whole family. Finn, again, living out an entire life, like 80 years in this world, having a deep, like, emotional connection with a family and people that he loves and that love him. All while remembering that he has lost his old life, only to die, go on this LSD-like fever dream, and then reemerge back in our real world. Just like that, Finn having completely forgotten and moving on from this former life that he lived after he had reaffirmed his relationship with Flame Princess. Again, Finn basically moving on from this former life. And goddamn, is that deep, and wow, is it like an existential crisis personified. I feel like a lot of people toss around the term existential crisis, but a lot of people don't actually know really exactly like what it means. To me, I think it's like a period of a person's life where they basically question their own identity, purpose, or really just the meaning of life for that person. They ask the question, who am I? What am I here on this planet to do? And does any of this even matter? Again, something I'm sure every teenager and young adult can relate to. And these feelings of like an existential crisis can be triggered by major life changes, personal loss, and oftentimes death. I mean, nothing will send a person into an existential crisis quicker than grappling with their own mortality. Hence why I think it's kind of really interesting that the only way that Finn can return back to the real world from the pillow world is through his eventual death through old age. In an actual literal sense, Finn moves on from his anxieties and his problems, and he does this through literally moving on, through dying, from moving from one world to the next. Finn, just like that, again, quickly moving on and forgetting this entire life he lived and the family that he had. As soon as Flame Princess reaffirms their relationship and clears up the kind of silly issue with the joke that he had himself spiraling and worrying about. And god damn, man, what an absolute roller coaster mindfuck for Adventure Time to send us down. And it's really in that moment that I remember, like, god damn it, dude, this is a kid's show. It's episodes like these why I love Adventure Time so freaking much. Adventure Time has this way that it can constantly kind of morph itself to tell really any kind of story that the writers wanted it to tell. Maybe that's in a wacky homage to an iconic horror film like in the episode No One Can Hear You. Or maybe a deep, heartwarming love story like between PB and Marceline. Or maybe it's a tragic story of memories and sacrifice in one of the many Ice King Marcy episodes, or possibly even a wacky, hilarious noir mystery adventure like in my personal favorite episode, Bimo Noir. No other kids show except for Adventure Time could simultaneously make you laugh your ass off with like wacky Finn and Jake shenanigans, and then in the next episode, make you question everything and give you an existential crisis, like in this episode, the episode Puhoy. And it's because of that, I think that there will never be another show like Adventure Time. As always, guys, if you enjoyed this video or learned something new, please make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, as your engagement on these videos is the easiest way to support me, and it really does go a long way in putting this video into the algorithm. Again, if you enjoyed this video, then why don't you check out some of my other content on screen now, and as always, I hope to see you in the next video. Stay safe out there, guys. Until next time, peace, love, adu.